The views and opinions expressed on any program are those of the producers and/or the persons appearing on the program, and do not necessarily reflect the views and opinions of FRC Media, Bristol Community College, or the City of Fall River.
Well, hello there. Welcome to Spindle City Straight Talk. I'm CJ.
And I'm Carlos Cesar.
He is our guest host as Chip is out having a medical procedure done. And it's not the good one either.
Hey.
It's a real crappy experience. And for our viewers...
So it was nice that he asked the day off.
Yeah. Well, he's actually getting all next week. The phone stopped blowing up because there's no Spindle City Straight Talk next week. We're going to take the week off, and I'm about due after 6 years for a vacation. What do you think, Carlos?
I think you need a little bit of tan like me. So I got mine putting a fence up this week, and I think you need to put a fence up to get some tan too.
I'll tell you, my yard needs some work at this point in time. Well, let's get right to the stuff of the
boy,
of
what
the
do you
day.
got? What do you got for this week?
Well, first off, guess what's scheduled for Wednesday? It's not in front of you. It's not in front of you, Carlos.
Oh, it's not.
No.
Oh, you tricked me now.
I tricked you. Guess what's scheduled for Wednesday? The pay-as-you-throw in the Ordinance Committee. To rescind pay-as-you-throw.
Very interesting.
Let's see if the City Council has the backbone to rescind it. None of them have had the backbone to rescind it on their own. But now that the mayor wants to get rid of it, let's see if the City Council can do it.
I've been hearing residents calling every time that Will Flanagan show talks about the purple bags. People actually has been calling in support of the purple bags. They are in support of keeping the purple bags. So it's going to be interesting to see how the City Council is going to address this issue. And believe it or not, it's going in 5 years that we're still talking about
trash.
Trash.
Well, you know, the thing though is that the purple bags is not included in next year's budget. So even if the City Council doesn't rescind the ordinance on the purple bags, there's no money in next year's budget for it. So what do you do?
Exactly. So if the City Council decides to keep the purple bags, so that will be extra money on the budget?
No, that money would go into the general fund, and then it would be classified as free cash because it's not in the budget currently.
So it will be extra at the end of the year. Will be extra money on the budget.
Exactly. And the thing that gets me though is, and I think the city councilors know this, if they do not vote to rescind pay-as-you-throw, they're not getting reelected. Okay, they've already raised our water and sewer rates. 7 of them have. They've already raised our taxes, and they say it's 2.5%, but that's 2.5% on the entire levy. That's not on your individual tax bill. Some people are seeing a 14 or 15% tax rate hike in their individual tax bill because of this 2.5% increase.
Well, but remember, we're supposed to raise tax every year.
No, we're not. No, we're not. That was a statement many moons ago made by Ken Fiola, and all of a sudden now it's become the new mantra for the city council and the mayor. Every year we must raise taxes. No, you don't. Every year you must cut down you got to cut down on staffing, not cut down on services.
I wish that people are on their jobs, they could get automatic raise on their paychecks.
Yeah, exactly. But they don't.
They don't.
And the thing is that also
I mean, the special jobs do.
There's 13, I believe there's 13 or 14 items on this agenda for Wednesday for the Ordinance Committee. 12 of them are new jobs for the mayor. New jobs for the mayor.
And
none of them produce services for the taxpayer. None of them.
And most important, like I said it on a different show, as long as they are qualified Yes, yes, the one that got the ladder for 14 years of working for this company. So he probably started working at 12. But it's besides the point, you know, this. It's only in Fall River. We accepted an application with the recommendation letter saying that, yes, accept this person because he worked for me for 14 years. And by his age, we started doing math, which is not too difficult for me. And I realized, wow, this kid is very smart. He started working construction at 12.
Yeah. Well, we'll have to see what happens. If
the wind's blowing this way now.
If you want the purple bags gone, go to the ordinance committee meeting next Wednesday night. I believe it's at 5:30 at City Council chamber, and let them know you want them gone. If you want to keep them, show up there and let them know you want to keep them. But make sure your voice is heard. The problem is you never say anything, people. You've got to open your mouth. You've got to say something. Be direct. Tell them what you want. Because remember, they represent you. They represent you. Now, here's a big joke. City Council schedules their Fall River budget talks. They schedule 2 meetings. When has the budget ever gone through in 2 meetings? When?
Well, let's try.
Yeah.
Let's try to get this over in 2 meetings. One thing that I'm going to ask the city councils is, please, I sit on the city council chamber with the budget on my lap, and I follow those pages as they go along and how the questions coming from the city councils. So do me a favor. Every time that you ask the administration a question and they said they don't have the information, I will get back to you. Table it.
Exactly.
Until you answer that question, we don't have no more questions today.
But they don't do that. They just
because I'm going to tell you why. It's frustrating because we have a question, and the city council have a question. A lot of those questions came from citizens that are in contact and have questions about the budget. And when they make the questions, they don't have the answers. How can you come and ask to approve something and you don't have the answers? And the part that's frustrated is we will never get that answer. Even if they provide that information to that particular city council or to the 9 city councils, we, the ones that pay the bills and everybody's salary, we never get that information. So we're sitting in there, and every time they say, I'm going to have to get back to you, I can cross that question off because I was never going to get that answer. So city councils, do me a favor. As soon as you have a question and the administration say, I don't have the information to give it to you, table. We have no more questions today until we have the answer for this question. And, you know, I think that's the way that we need to address and to have the answers answered by the administration, period.
You know, last year during the budget hearings, Councilor Ponte started cutting the budget. For the first time in the history of the city council, they started cutting areas of the budget. They can do line item cuts. And they took overtime money away from the fire department, which I thought was a good thing because they seem to have done pretty well without that overtime money. Now it's time for Councilor Ponte. Are you listening? Hello, Cliff, I'm talking to you. Now it's time for the city council to cut the overtime on the police department. Cut $40,000 out of the police department. And I can tell you why, and it's not going to affect public safety whatsoever. Cut $40,000 out of the public safety budget and overtime, out of the police department budget and overtime, because that $40,000 is spent at the Great Feast of the Holy Ghost. Okay? Let them pay for it. Now, Carlos, don't you have to pay for police when you have events?
Every time. And
you're a nonprofit.
Every time I paid for the police, and even the most money that I paid was for the rodeo. I will never forget. They made me put 3 officers
right
there. I paid almost $5,000 for a weekend to have police presence on the field for the rodeo. I will never forget that. But every time that we have like a carnival, we have to pay. They don't tell us, you know, you don't have to pay. We have to pay. So that's why I'm saying why some people pay, some people don't pay. But I have to say, the city council is going to have a hard time just cutting that, and I will tell you why. Because people will see that just, they were not putting the things together. It's money that they're going to be cutting out of the police department, and they don't want to do that. So if it's another way to make them pay for the services, okay, that they need to get from the police department, I think would be the best way to go. But guess what? Never happened. That will never happen. And
Joe Macy said that that's an economic development tool.
Yes.
That it's a cultural event. And it's a religious event, according to these people. It's a religious event. It's not a cultural event. It's a religious event. And even you say it's not a religious event.
It's not, and I grew up with the Holy Ghost feasts. It's not, and it's not just them. Even the Holy Ghost in clubs, I don't agree with. You're making money to pay your mortgage.
That's right.
Okay? So guess what? That's not a religion's. Has nothing to do. What has to do is let's put a great singer to bring 1,000 people to buy beer, to buy shish kebabs and all of that, and we will be all set, and our mortgage will be paid for the rest of the year.
Exactly.
That's what it is. So it's a money grab. Don't tell me. And I mean, it's so many things on the law that's broke. CJ, can you drink wine on the street?
Nope, you can't.
So why it's people drinking wine during the parades in Fall River?
Because it's a religious celebration. But, according to Joe Macy, it's not a religious celebration. It's a cultural celebration.
You know, I mean, it's so much. Guess what? And I will tell you, especially for our community that it's not familiar with the Portuguese festivities. Back on the day, they used to bring the cows down the streets to show the people what the meat they're going to get at the end of the day. Those are donations. They donate the meat from those cows. In the meantime, because with kids around and everything watching on the sidewalks, they used to milk the cows and give the kids the milk. That's why today we walk on Columbus Street with gallons of milk dumping into cups and giving to people. That has nothing to do. I think the milk company makes a good profit on that feast too. But that's the idea. So that has nothing to do with the festivity, because that's a way, you know, different. That's what I'm saying. You want to celebrate the Holy Ghost the correct way, go to Portugal. That's where they have the real festivity for the Holy Ghost.
Hey, and you can take Delta now.
Now you can take Delta. And it's a couple of $100 more, but guess what? I think you're better off than the other company. I'm on the process of going to Azores in a couple of months. So.
Hey, you better be careful. The mayor may not let you come back.
Huh?
The mayor may not let you come back.
No, it's okay. I bring, just in case, I bring both passports.
They're already trying to destroy you. His agents are trying to destroy you in the Flint.
Yeah, I know. But I will bring both passports. Which one do you want? Oh, boy.
You know, everyone was so concerned about Phillips Lighting, laying off 160 people, moving, everything else. They were so interested that they're already trying to sell the building, and they're not even out of it yet. So the City Council Committee on Finance met on Tuesday of this week to discuss the state of economic development in Fall River, which is a big joke, as we know, because we spoke about this a little bit on Wednesday. City Administrator Kathy Ann Rivera said she's been contacted by 2 companies interested in the possible purchase of the Phillips plant located in the industrial park. They're not even out of it yet, and you're already trying to sell it. That shows you how much you care about the workers. Tom Pereira, the executive director of Workforce Investment Board, said that on April 20th, there had been rumors of the closing of Phillips. earlier in the day, but no official verification. Career Center Management was in contact with the State Department of Career Services and found that the company had been in communication with the state on the closure. Per said immediately action was taken to start the process of assisting workers. Yeah, they're trying to call them displaced workers now. The administration's pitching the Fall River Development Authority funding to create the Office of Economic Development. RDA Chairwoman Kara O'Connell, she's from O'Connell's Boatyard, said the board is contemplating the offer and taking the authority down another path as a way to help promote the city. They don't have any background in this at all. None.
No. And I'm going to tell you, and I can show you, or anybody that wants to hear the messages, it's right on my phone. I can just ask me and I will show you. I got 2 calls this week about people that are buying 2 buildings on Pleasant Street. 2 different people, 2 different calls. So they want my help and they want me to support them to buy those locations. I put them in touch with a couple of people, and one included is Tony Dyers, because it's old buildings, and I don't want to lose the status of being buildings being historical buildings. So, but here's the thing. I'm talking to this person, and which I never heard from them before, and I'm asking, why didn't you contact economic development, somebody? And he told me, one of them told me, well, I got the name of Dion and Cathy Ann, and I called, but it's been over a week. I didn't get the call back, and then I bumped into somebody, and they gave me your number. Probably you could help me with. And I'm like, you know, I have nothing to do. I don't get paid to do economic development, but guess what? I'm going to do the best I can to make sure that you close on those buildings, because it's on my neighborhood interest that you close on those buildings and move business there. And he's telling me that he's going to hire up to 10 people already. So guess what? Without knowing, I'm helping economic development. That's what the only thing that takes is, you know, a phone call, and just grab it. Don't let it go. Don't wait 2 days, you know. So I did call Mike Dion, and I asked him, Mike, can you please return this person a call, because he has questions about economic development, and I'm putting him in touch with different agencies to help him close on this building. So, and Mike told me that he was going to call him this morning. But that's it. That's economic development. We are paying people to invent the wheel. Guess what? This, you know, it's nothing to invent. It's already done. Why are we paying these people more money to do something that's already there? Just answer your phones, and half of the job is done.
Well, you know, what's interesting is that Cathy Ann Viveris gets extra money for this, and she doesn't return phone calls. Okay? And then we find out she's not even doing economic development. It's Mike Dion doing the economic development, who's not getting paid any extra money for that. But Cathy Ann's getting extra money for it. Okay? Monica's getting extra money for it. Everybody's getting extra money for it, but they're not doing the job.
And Cathy Ann is saying at the last meeting, financial meeting, that Monica is going into business with the questions, the 15 questions and everything. The folder, it's already done. We paid Mike Moda to provide that information. If you go back and you ask City Council, he presented the folder to the City Council. What buildings are empty, what buildings are good for rent, what the problems they have. You know something? Give tips to the small business. Because
God forbid.
I don't need... Give tips to the small business so they can hire help, so they can have more employees. Because I don't need to get a call from a business on Pleasant Street asking me, Carlos, can you stay on my store for an hour because I have an appointment that I need to get out of my store. I don't need that. I do because I want to help the helpers. Oh, Carlos, can you please stop by the bank and get some change for me? That's what I'm doing for free, Because guess what? I want the business to stay and to get as much help they can. So do me a favor, instead of, and we're going to go to streetscapes, instead of spending millions of dollars, okay, to paint or to put the lipstick on a pig, let's first feed the pig, then he could get nice and fat, and then we will put the lipstick on it.
I love it. I love it. And now that you've mentioned streetscapes, the most expensive streetscapes project is where? Oh, it's where the mayor lives. Imagine that. And they're the ones cutting all the corners. Cheap, cheap, cheap. $1.7 million?
Mm-hmm.
$7 million streetscapes program, $1.39 million for the mayor's project, for where the mayor lives.
Mm-hmm.
But the contractor is cutting corners. And then they just found out that there's granite underneath that street. Hello? Do you remember the granite block? The granite block, it was right there. That's where it was called, the granite block. That's why it was called that.
Mm-hmm.
And now you're having a problem because there's granite there?
And remember, those streets have the train lines still on the ground, I believe. That's another thing they're going to have to hit on. But besides the point, the first question on streetscapes, and everybody knows, and I was in front of the city councils against the streetscapes, and I told them that Ed Lambert tried on Pleasant Street and all of that. So I have proved that that doesn't work. That doesn't work. That just doesn't work. But we don't have time to go into specifics. But here's the thing. Why was those locations picked? Do they did a database to see that is the location that's going to best involve and bring economic development to the city?
No, of course
not.
So
why? What system that they pick the locations that they're going to spend how money? Okay.
Give me a political contribution to my campaign, and I'll give you streetscapes.
You know, I mean, that doesn't make sense. And I told the mayor on the last meeting that we had back in 2016. I told them I don't agree. You want to spend $7 million in one location and turn around that location? I'm with you. But to spend all this money just picking and choosing where you want to put money into it, I don't agree. I still don't agree. I think it's a waste of money. That's not going to help anything. The homeless that's sitting on that sidewalk now is going to sitting on the new sidewalk. That's not going to help at anything on economic development. So guess what? I didn't change my opinion. My opinion was from day one. I'm not in support of that. Past, I have to agree because the is on the budget, so the money needs to be spent now. But guess what? I don't agree with it, and I will never will. I don't care if it was on Pleasant Street. I will not agree with it. And that's okay. You can go into the Flint neighborhood and tell the people on the Flint neighborhood that, guess what? You're not getting streetscapes because your presidents don't agree. Guess what? You are the mayor. You are the administration. You make the decisions. If you had decided to do streetscapes on Pleasant Street, I'm nobody to stop you. So stop going to my neighborhood and tell my neighborhood residents that we're not getting streetscapes because I don't agree with it. Okay? So that's what I tell them. Tell them that he's the mayor, he's the one that makes the decision, not me.
That's true. That's true. Well, you know, the thing about the Streetscapes project over on Purchase Street from Bedford to Cherry is you have a city councilor that's benefiting from it because he's at the end, at the Cherry Street section. Mm-hmm. You have the mayor's landlord benefiting at the front end of the project. Mm-hmm. And the mayor doesn't want to form a committee to look at the cheapness of this project, of what they're doing on the cheap, but keeping all the money. Mm-hmm. Then all of a sudden, when he's called on the rug by the reporters, now he's going to, what did he say? After a meeting with Correa on Tuesday, Camara said the mayor, this was Steve Camara, said the mayor committed to forming the oversight committee. Yeah, we'll see the oversight committee. It'll be Kathy Ann and Monica, and there'll be nothing going on.
Another thing that I heard on SAR yesterday, a very excellent call to Laura Washington, was we have questions how much far on this budget did we already spend and how far we are on this project, because this, I think, is going to be a way over budget.
Oh, yeah, it's going to be a boondoggle. We already know that. It's going to be a boondoggle.
So, and that happens when we don't do studies before the projects. That's why the Atlanta Charter School is having problems now in the neighborhoods, okay? Because the studies was not done before they got the permissions to do and to build.
No, they didn't do it because the Atlanta Charter School wanted it and they didn't care.
Exactly.
And this is what shows you what happens in the city. And the city council is guilty of this. The city council approved it.
And these boards are making these decisions, okay? They're already going into the meetings knowing how they're going to vote for.
That's right.
So we can fill the chamber with residents say, please don't do this, please don't destroy my streets.
They ignore you.
They're going to get away with.
That's
and
right.
you know what the chairman has to say? Because he already told me. Now it's a different chairman, but it was, you want to fight us? Get yourself a lawyer and fight us. But guess what? I need $1,500 to start the fight.
Right.
To start the fight. When I don't have to, when you have a full room of people, neighbors, okay, next door neighbors saying this is not going to work.
Hey, and you just look at the rail trail, okay? The SciTech is back out there surveying again. They're going to put that road in. Like it or not, that road's going to go in.
Exactly.
And the mayor did this. The mayor sold billions of dollars of money, millions and millions of dollars of money. He gave it away to this private company. Why? Because it lined his pockets. It lined his pockets.
And was
this, I mean, honestly, when you look at this, it almost borders on racketeering.
And
because this kid gives everything away to anybody that makes a political campaign contribution.
I got a call about 2 weeks ago, somebody asking me if I knew about this construction before they got the license. And I told them, nope, I didn't hear anything. The first thing I heard about it was when they went in front of the city council, and the city council approved it without having much information on. That, when I heard about it, until then, I never heard from them, and we're still not involved on anything.
No, and because you know why? Because eventually, and I mean, Terry Sullivan has said it to people that have gotten in trouble. Other department heads have said it to people that have gotten in trouble. Don't worry about it. Keep your mouth shut about it, and it'll blow over, and nobody's going to remember it. And that's the problem. Nobody remembers anything in this city.
But the thing is, this is going to get worse before it's going to get better. And that bucket has a lot of names on that bucket that people are going to be surprised they are involved on this behind the scenes. He's not like a Trump investigator. And not investigation. It's like, it's crazy.
Well, you know, the interesting thing is an individual who left the city, who was a business leader in the city, he's left the city, he's got a better job somewhere else, said, you know, I always defended Fall River because everyone always said that it was corrupt and, you know, they didn't follow the rules and they didn't follow the law. And I've gone to every other city and town in this Commonwealth, and they all do everything by the book. I can no longer defend Fall River because Fall River does nothing by the book. He goes, and it's amazing to see that they still get away with breaking the law the way they do. And it's the truth. We have every politician in the city violating the law. They're violating the charter. Come on.
I mean, just last Tuesday was a violation again. They had the school committee at the same time.
I know.
What it says on the charter that it's illegal.
Who cares? Who cares? It's illegal.
So we're breaking the law every time that we have a meeting.
That's it.
Pretty much.
Because that's the way it goes.
Hey, I'm so happy that you took the week off, because this way I don't have to be here repeating the same thing again.
Well, everybody, thanks for watching. Have a great weekend and have a great week next week. We won't see you until the following Monday, the 11th. So please tune back in on the 11th. We'll see you then. Have a great day. And remember, stay angry.